Intermediate events. Here we can see all the different types of intermediate events. In this case, we can see that their main goal is to hold the flow until something happens, okay, until a certain condition is met. And here we have all the different types. Intermediate message event, intermediate time event, multiple intermediate event, and link event. Okay, so the intermediate message event holds the flow until a certain message is received, and this message can be edited via a form or via a system or Internet of Things. Okay, so we already saw how we could initiate a process by inputting data. Well, here what we're going to do is we're going to unblock the flow of a process by inputting data. Now we have the time event that's going to allow us to stop the flow until a certain moment in time arrives. So we already said that a start time event allows us to initiate a process when a certain moment in time arrives. Okay, but in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to stop the flow, and once it's stopped, when that moment arrives, the flow is going to be able to continue. A multiple intermediate event does both things. It holds a flow until one of the configured events has been reached. Okay, and then we have the link event that allows us to link two different flows in a diagram. So let's say we're diagramming and we have 4 or 5 different pages in our diagram. We want to link a certain flow that we have in page 1 to a flow that we have diagrammed on page 3. We could use this link event. So we have one link event on page 1 and another one on page 3. And just by connecting both of them, we could link that thread of flow. Okay, we don't have to draw the thread from page 1 to page 3. All we have to do is use one of these link events. Okay, so here let's see a couple examples of how these intermediate events work. First of all, we're going to draw the diagram. And as we mentioned earlier, one of these intermediate events can have one or several inlets and only one outlet. And here we have an example where we have different performers. Sarah is performing the task. After doing this, the flow goes to this time event and it stops. And it's going to wait until a certain moment in time arrives in order to unblock the flow. Let's say that moment arrives, then the flow continues. And Anna receives her task. So Anna cannot receive her task until that moment in time has passed. Okay? Now here we have another task where Sarah finishes performing whatever she had to perform in that task, and the flow goes to this intermediate message event. Okay, when the flow arrives this intermediate message event, it's available for anyone or anything to input data into the system. Okay, so let's say there's a drone or there's people or there's other applications that can input data into the system. And as soon as they do so, they unblock the thread with flow. So when would Anna receive this task? When someone unblocks this message event. Okay, so it's necessary for someone or something to be able to unblock this object. Here we said it was time, and here we don't know when it's going to be. It's just going to be whenever someone decides they have to do this. Okay, and then here we have another object that's going to actually act as both.